Have you ever crossed a fence marked "No Trespassing" and felt the warnings weren't about lawsuits, but something was? Urban exploration promises adrenaline through forgotten buildings and abandoned histories, but some places hold more than dust and rust. Tonight, 4 real accounts from urban explorers will show you that certain spaces never truly empty. They just wait for visitors foolish enough to descend into basements, or arrogant enough to disbelieve warning shots, rhythmic clicks emerging from a bottomless well. A faceless man sitting among dismantled luxury cars. Real bullets cutting through air as you sprint 300 yards to the exit. 5 clean chairs in perfect circle while footsteps descend the stairs behind you. These aren't urban legends. They're real experiences lived by actual people who survived to tell what they found when they crossed the wrong boundaries. 15 seconds to understand that trespassing isn't just illegal. Sometimes you invade territory belonging to those who don't care about laws because they've already crossed far worse lines. Ethan had always been reclusive, not from trauma but genuine preference. While other children formed playground groups, he explored alone, testing park boundaries until adults intervened. Solitude never felt like punishment. It was freedom to move without negotiation, without compromising to someone else's pace through urban exploration territories. Progression came naturally. Solitary games evolved into long walks, then nighttime cemetery visits where old headstones told stories the living had forgotten. No morbidity drove this, just curiosity about spaces society marked forbidden. The dead didn't judge, didn't ask questions, didn't slow exploration with performative fear that groups generated through social pressure. Abandoned hospitals and schools came after getting a car and real mobility. The vehicle transformed occasional hobby into systematic operation. Google Earth revealed forgotten rural structures, collapsed roofs visible from satellite, cracked parking lots, vegetation devouring windows. He built lists of 5 to 10 targets per region, optimizing routes to maximize explorations before darkness forced retreat. Equipment stayed minimal. Durable jeans, hiking boots, reliable flashlight. No elaborate masks or safety kits, just necessities for entering, mentally documenting, exiting. Walking approaches eliminated vehicle evidence, enabling discretion that obvious parking would destroy through trespassing detection. His personal rule was simple: don't get scared within reason. Rotten floors, wild animals, filth, all manageable with attention and environmental respect. Abandoned structures follow predictable logic. Gravity pulls downward. Wood rots, metal rusts. Understanding these rules transformed dangerous exploration into calculated navigation through abandoned church territories. That confidence will be tested at the church. Because some sounds don't follow logic of dripping water or wind whistling through broken windows. Some sounds suggest purpose, rhythm, intention. And when you hear them emerging from depths your flashlight can't reach, all rules about reasonable evaporate like fog under midday sun. The church appeared on Google Earth as white cross against dense green, isolated, no nearby roads, apparently forgotten for decades. Perfect. 10-minute trail through dense forest, crossing rusted trash marking old clearing. When he emerged from trees, the structure revealed itself smaller than expected. Bell tower tilted like accusing finger pointing at indifferent sky. The open well inside yard didn't appear in any satellite photos. Moss-covered stone rim, absolute depth. His flashlight died in darkness before revealing bottom. Then he heard it. Click. 2-second pause. Click. Pause. Click. Mechanical, regular, hypnotic. Not water. Water doesn't maintain perfect rhythm. Not animal. What creature lives in absolute black, producing infinite metallic sound from deep well clicking patterns? The rhythmic clicks created auditory hypnosis that pulled attention downward into blackness his eyes couldn't penetrate. Standing at well's edge, Ethan counted. Click, 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, click. Perfect consistency suggesting mechanical source rather than natural phenomenon. But what mechanism operates in absolute darkness at bottom of abandoned well, maintaining rhythm for unknown duration? He circled the well's perimeter, testing if position changed acoustic quality or revealed source direction. The clicks remained identical from all angles, pure, metallic, emanating from depth that swallowed his flashlight beam like black hole consuming light. No echo variation, no distortion, just mechanical precision that shouldn't exist in natural environment. The church itself beckoned with broken stained glass windows creating kaleidoscope patterns across dusty interior. He tore attention from hypnotic well sounds, approaching main entrance where rotted doors hung from single hinges. Inside, nave stretched longer than exterior suggested, optical illusion created by darkness and deterioration collapsing spatial perception. Dust covered everything in gray blanket that muffled footsteps, creating sensation of walking through dream or memory rather than physical space. The crooked pulpit leaned at angles suggesting foundation shift or deliberate vandalism. Its once polished wood now split and weathered. Behind it, an arched doorway led to what should be storage hall or administrative offices. He photographed mentally, broken pews stacked against walls, hymnal pages scattered like autumn leaves, brass fixtures tarnished to green patina. The aesthetic decay held beauty that drew urban explorers. Time's artwork painted in rust and rot, nature reclaiming human construction through patient invasion of root and rain. But the clicks continued, audible even inside church structure. They shouldn't penetrate stone walls and wooden framework, yet somehow the rhythm persisted, background pulse suggesting connection between surface church and whatever occupied well's depths. The acoustic impossibility created first genuine unease, subtle wrongness that his reasonable rule couldn't explain away. The arched doorway revealed descending stays, worn stone steps leading to basement storage or perhaps original church foundation predating current structure. He tested first step carefully. Solid. Second step, stable. By seventh step, the wood beneath stone facade gave way with crack that echoed through empty church like gunshot. His fall lasted maybe 2 seconds, but stretched into eternity of panic and pain calculation. He landed hard on basement floor, tailbone absorbing impact that sent lightning through spine. Flashlight clattered away, beam spinning wildly before settling at angle illuminating hand-dug tunnel in trance he hadn't seen during descent. Pain radiated from tailbone through lower back, forcing him to remain still while assessing damage. Nothing felt broken, but movement would hurt significantly. He reached for flashlight, fingers closing around metal cylinders still warm from his grip. When he redirected beam toward ceiling, the collapsed stair section revealed why 7th step had failed, deliberate sawing through support beam, not natural rot. Someone had sabotaged the stays. The realization brought cold clarity. This wasn't neglected abandonment but maintained trap. The church's isolation, the accessible entry, the visible path to basement, all suggested intentional design for capturing curious trespassers through hand-dug tunnel systems. The tunnel entrance gaped like mouth, dirt walls reinforced with scavenged timber showing recent tool marks. No archaeological excavation or historical foundation. This was fresh digging, maybe weeks or months old. The passage extended beyond his flashlight's range, descending at angles suggesting it connected to Well's depth or deeper systems. Then came the voice, high-pitched, feminine or childlike, screaming hello with desperate urgency. The word echoed from tunnel depths, followed by gibberish that might be language or might be vocal cord damage creating distorted phonemes. And beneath the voice, rhythmic clicks matching exactly the Well's pattern. Click, pause, click. His flashlight flickered, battery draining faster than normal as if something pulled electrical charge from air itself. The voice grew louder. Hello? Hello, now accompanied by scraping sounds like fingernails on dirt or metal dragging across stone. The clicks accelerated slightly, maintaining rhythm but increasing tempo from 2-second intervals to maybe 1.5. Adrenaline overrode tailbone pain. He scrambled toward collapsed stays, using pews and wall irregularities to climb despite missing steps. Splinters drove into palms, fingernails cracking as he hauled himself upward with desperate strength. Behind him, the voice reached fever pitch, words dissolving into shriek while clicks became machine gun rapid. He burst through church entrance, stumbling into afternoon sunlight that felt wrong. Too bright, too warm, too normal after basement suffocating darkness. And then noticed the wrongness, absolute silence. No birds, no wind through leaves, no insect buzz. The forest had gone mute, as if nature itself held breath waiting for something to emerge from church behind him. He ran, didn't pause to photograph, didn't document for future exploration, just ran down trail toward car with single-minded panic he'd never experienced in all his years of solo exploration. The silence followed, bubble of dead end moving with him until he reached vehicle and slammed door, engine roar breaking supernatural quiet like hammer through glass. Daniel, John, and Anthony had been chased off the property yesterday, farmer and dog emerging from nowhere, shouting threats about sheriff and trespassing charges. But curiosity mixed with teenage arrogance is powerful narcotic. They returned near dusk, parking mile down road and approaching through woods to avoid detection. The vast property stretched across rolling hills, expensive acreage that should support cattle operation or crop cultivation. Instead, only horses dotted the landscape, dozens of them, various breeds, all watching with unnatural stillness as three trespassers crossed fence line. No cattle, no sheep, no chickens. Just horses in monoculture arrangement that made no agricultural sense. They moved carefully through twilight, using tree lines for cover while approaching cluster of structures near property center. Rundown house, large RV showing age, weathered shed with padlocked doors. Nothing suggested active farming operation. But the vehicles told different story. Side-by-sides in operational condition, maintenance suggesting regular use despite structure deterioration. Then they saw the trophy cars. Porsche 911, Range Rover, Ferrari California, multiple Corvettes, Ford Raptors, luxury vehicles in various states of disassembly scattered behind shed like automotive graveyard. Parts organized in systematic piles, engines, transmissions, body panels separated by make and model. This was an abandonment. This was chop shop operation processing stolen vehicles. The RV showed life signs. Fresh food visible through window, fishing rods leaning against entrance, generator humming with electrical supply. Someone lived here despite property's surface abandonment, operating criminal enterprise hidden behind rural isolation and agricultural facade. The horses suddenly made sense, animals that required minimal maintenance while providing legitimate property use explanation if authorities investigated. Foul odor drifted from shed direction, thick and organic like spoiled meat amplified by heat. A walk-in freezer unit sat beside shed, its door slightly ajar, odor source concentrated there. Daniel moved closer despite John's whispered protests, curiosity overriding survival instinct through tactical error number one. Before reaching freezer, Van entered through gate they'd seen on property's far side. Not police, not farmer, unmarked vehicle with tinted windows, arriving with purpose suggesting scheduled appointment. The three dropped behind vehicle pile, crouching low while debate raged in whispers. Retreat now or wait to see who emerged. Anthony's vote to stay won through persuasive argument that leaving immediately might draw attention through movement. So they waited, hidden behind Corvette chassis, watching Van park near RV while trying to control breathing that sounded loud as freight trains and adrenaline-sharpened hearing. Minutes stretched while nothing happened. Van doors remained closed. No occupant emerged. Twilight deepened toward full darkness. Then RV door opened, spilling yellow light across dirt yard as woman descended, glancing toward Van before walking to property's edge where she stood facing woods, facing exactly where three teenagers crouched behind stolen vehicles. She couldn't possibly see them in gathering darkness, yet her posture suggested awareness, head tilted in listening position. Daniel pressed finger to lips, unnecessary gesture since John and Anthony had already frozen into absolute stillness. The woman remained motionless for a full minute before turning back toward Avi, satisfied or deceived. The man emerged next, and all three witnesses' breath caught simultaneously. He sat at outdoor table near Avi, black cat jumping onto lap, but his face, pure white, smooth as marble, no features visible. No nose, no mouth, no eye sockets, just blank surface like mannequin or burn victim wrapped in compression bandages. Yet he moved with purpose, head turning to track cat's movements despite lacking visible eyes. From elevated position behind vehicle pile, they had perfect view of his impossible figure. John later swore the face was masked with medical bandage, but Daniel saw how smoothly white surface moved with head turns, no wrinkles or seams that mask would create. Anthony couldn't look away, hypnotized by wrongness that violated every instinct about human appearance. The woman returned, this time walking purposefully toward vehicle pile. Not direct approach, but flanking movement designed to cut off escape route toward fence line. Somehow she knew three witnesses watched from behind dismantled luxury cars, and she moved to trap them before whatever happened next. Tactical error number two. They'd waited too long. Running now meant crossing open ground under moonlight while woman moved to intercept. Daniel made command decision, grabbing John and Anthony, pulling them low for crawl through vehicle maze toward property's opposite edge where forest offered cover. The movement triggered response. Footsteps accelerated, multiple sources now. How many people were here? The featureless man remained seated but cat shrieked. Sound like child scream cutting through night. And then came the galloping. Heavy impact suggesting horses released or something else using four legs with weight that shook ground through stolen car chassis. They broke cover running, all pretense of stealth abandoned for speed. Behind them, shouts in language or maybe just vocalization, screams both human and animal, pounding like stampede. The fence line appeared through trees, barbed wire catching moonlight. Anthony went over first, John following, Daniel last while glancing back to see. Figures pursuing, definitely human shape but moving wrong, too fast for running humans, almost flowing across ground. The featureless man among them despite sitting moment before, impossible speed suggesting he'd never actually been seated but rather teleported forward through quantum impossibility. They crashed through forest without path, branches whipping faces, roots catching ankles, lungs burning with exertion and terror. The pursuit sounds faded gradually, suggesting property boundary created actual limit to whatever hunted them. But none stopped running until reaching car, engine roaring to life, tires screaming on pavement as they fled rural nightmare toward city lights and rational explanations they'd never quite believe. Miles had seen the videos, teenagers cliff jumping into pristine quarry water, aerial flips and cannonballs from 4-foot ledges. The McKinney location appeared perfect. Deep water, solid jumping platforms, dramatic scenery. The signs dampened enthusiasm somewhat. No trespassing. Blasting zone. Trespassers will be shot. But surely those were legal deterrents, not literal threats. They arrived afternoon, parking brazenly at main entrance like legitimate visitors. Josh, Aiden, and Tyler followed Miles toward water, laughing about parental warnings and legal concerns. This was Texas, not some paranoid compound. The property owner couldn't actually shoot kids for swimming. The black Hummer appeared minutes later, engine growl announcing presence before vehicle crested ridge. Woman emerged already shouting. Phone pressed to ear. John, get the gun. We've got trespassers at the quarry. Not threat, not warning. Matter-of-fact instructions suggesting routine response to common problem. Miles started explaining about videos, about just wanting to swim. But woman cut him off. You need to leave before police arrive, or before John arrives. Your choice, but make it fast. Tone suggested genuine concern beneath anger, as if she tried helping despite their violation. They left, dignity somewhat intact but adventure ruined. During drive home, debate raged about returning, maybe different entrance, maybe early morning before anyone noticed. Tyler advocated moving on to safer locations, but Miles had tasted forbidden fruit. The video showed perfect jumping, and small-town property owner couldn't guard every access point. Tactical error. They learned nothing except that property owner was serious. The woman's genuine concern, the mention of John with gun, the lack of actual police response, all suggested something beyond normal property protection. But teenage brain chemistry prioritizes social triumph over survival calculation. 3 months passed before Miles' organized return trip. Larger group this time for safety in numbers. They parked at nearby church to hide vehicle plates from property cameras, walking through woods toward quarry. Another visitor warned them. Careful with a Hummer lady, she's serious about those signs. But warnings mean little when you've already decided you're smarter than rules. The quarry looked exactly like videos promised. Azure water, perfect jumping platforms, empty of other people. They spent 20 minutes swimming and jumping, adrenaline and victory hormones creating invincible sensation. Then silver van crested ridge, different vehicle but same purposeful approach. Distance made identification impossible, maybe 50 yards with trees obscuring clear sight lines. The van stopped, door opened, and 2 loud cracks echoed across quarry that sounded nothing like warning shots. The first shots created moment of confusion where brain rejected reality. Maybe fireworks, maybe engine backfire. Then third and fourth shots removed all doubt. These were firearms discharging with lethal intent toward teenagers who'd ignored warnings about trespassing in armed property owner territory. Josh screamed run, unnecessary instruction since all 4 had already pivoted toward tree line. More shots followed, 8 or 10 total, though adrenaline made accurate counting impossible. The sound came from van's direction, but visual confirmation was impossible. Thick trees and panic focus on escape eliminated any chance of seeing shooter. They crashed through forest toward property's far edge, 300 yards feeling like 3 miles as branches grabbed clothes and roots conspired to trip fleeing trespassers. Every snap of twig behind them suggested pursuit. Every rustle meant shooter closing distance for better aim. Tyler went down hard, ankle twisting on hidden stone, Josh hauling him upright without stopping momentum. The fence appeared through trees, chain-link boundary marking property edge and theoretical safety. Miles went over first, metal rattling underweight, then reached back to help Tyler, whose injured ankle made climbing difficult. Aiden and Josh scrambled over sides, all 4 hitting ground on public sides simultaneously. No more shots came. Either they'd exceeded shooter's range or property boundary created actual limit to armed response. But they kept running, following road toward church parking lot and salvation of locked vehicle. Lungs burning, legs trembling, but alive despite criminal stupidity that had nearly earned Darwin Awards. Then salvation. White pickup truck approaching from opposite direction. Driver seeing 4 panicked teenagers and making instant decision. He skidded to stop, passenger door flying open. Get in. Now. Voice carried authority that overrode stranger danger conditioning. They piled into truck bed and cab, Tyler's ankle already swelling to softball size, all bleeding from branch cuts across faces and arms. The driver accelerated toward main road while demanding explanation. What the hell were you kids doing at that quarry? Those signs aren't jokes. They'll shoot trespassers and ask questions never. Miles gasped out story between heaving breaths, adrenaline crash making words difficult. Driver shook head but didn't lecture, just drove toward church where their car waited. Before dropping them, he made them promise. Never go back there. Whatever videos you saw, whatever thrill you're chasing, it's not worth dying for. Those property owners aren't making empty threats. They promised. This time, they meant it. Ryan had been exploring abandoned properties since 2015, building expertise that separated amateurs from serious urban explorers. His cousin Lucas shared the obsession, both developing protocols, test floors before committing weight, wear masks against mold and asbestos, avoid properties with active security. The Lake Hollow mansion rumors promised perfect target. Abandoned since late 90s, original furnishings intact, no security despite valuable contents. Local Facebook groups whispered about the place. Wealthy family vanished 97 or 98, leaving everything behind. No for sale signs, no estate liquidation, just gradual decay while property entered legal limbo. Teenagers occasionally broke in, posting photos of frozen-in-time interior that suggested family left mid-routine, expecting to return momentarily. They approached from lakeside, avoiding road entrance that might have cameras or neighbor sight lines. Back door yielded to gentle pressure. Lock mechanism rusted beyond security function. Kitchen appeared first. Calendar stopped on May 1997. Coffee cup with dried ring suggesting final morning before whatever happened. No dishes in sink. No food rot. Just suspension of daily life. The living room held sheet-draped furniture suggesting preparation for absence, but family photos remained on walls, their faces sun-faded into ghostly impressions. Ryan documented mentally while Lucas checked windows, all intact from inside, unusual for abandoned property that usually suffered vandalism. The preservation suggested either very recent abandonment or some deterrent force preventing typical teenage destruction. Upstairs revealed contradictions. Master bedroom perfectly made with hospital corners, but dresser drawers hung open and empty as if contents grabbed hastily during emergency exit. Guest room showed similar pattern. Surfaces undisturbed but storage spaces ransacked, suggesting selective packing under time pressure. Then Lucas found a newspaper room. Entire floor carpeted with classified sections from July 1997, pages carefully spread like insulation or deliberate documentation. Ryan scanned headlines, nothing dramatic, typical summer news. But classified ads showed circled entries, all in wanted to buy section. Private cash buyer seeks estate jewelry, no dealers. Discreet buyer for valuable items, immediate payment. Someone had been seeking quick liquidity through untraceable sales channels. The pattern suggested financial crisis requiring immediate cash conversion of family assets, probably illegal given emphasis on discretion and dealer avoidance. Maybe embezzlement discovery, maybe debt collection, maybe criminal flight, but definitely urgent departure. The master bedroom windows revealed final disturbing detail. Boards nailed from inside, not outside. Someone had sealed themselves in, preventing exit rather than entry. And master closet held heavy padlock with fresh scratches. Drag marks on floor suggesting weight pulled across threshold before securing with industrial lock impossible to open without tools they didn't carry. Ryan descended to basement while Lucas examined second floor closets. The stairs felt solid despite age, suggesting either superior construction or recent maintenance. Basement opened into finished space with carpet and drywall, unusual for 90s construction that typically left basements as concrete storage. And then he saw the chairs. 5 mismatched seats arranged in perfect circle at room center, each facing inward toward empty focal point. But the wrongness wasn't arrangement, it was cleanliness. While everything else wore decades of dust, these chairs gleamed, recently cleaned or possibly wiped down after use. The circle's precision suggested measurement and planning, not random placement. Lucas joined him, both standing at stairs bottom staring at impossible chairs. Maybe squatters. Lucas offered, but theory collapsed under scrutiny. Why clean only chairs? Why perfect circle? Why basement over comfortable upstairs bedrooms? This wasn't homeless shelter. This was ritual space maintained by someone with specific purpose. Ryan approached cautiously, examining each chair for additional clues. Different styles: office chair, wooden dining chair, plastic patio seat, upholstered armchair, metal folding chair, suggested gathering of whatever available rather than matching set purchase. But placement showed laser-level precision, exactly equidistant spacing with surgical accuracy. The floor beneath circle also lacked dust, recent cleaning evident in sharp boundary between circle interior and surrounding basement. Someone maintained this space regularly, perhaps weekly or monthly, sweeping and wiping to preserve ritual purity that rest of house didn't warrant. The dedication suggested significance beyond simple furniture arrangement. Lucas checked his phone. No signal this deep, unsurprising given rural location and basement depth. But the timestamp showed 6:47 p.m., twilight approaching. They'd entered at 5:30, meaning only hour plus elapsed though it felt longer. The time capsule atmosphere created temporal distortion, sensation of moving through preserved past rather than present moment. Then they heard it, door closing upstairs. Not slam, just firm click of door returning to frame. Both froze, exchanging glances that communicated volumes. They hadn't closed any doors during entry. Lucas had specifically propped back door open with rock for guaranteed exit route. Footsteps crossed overhead floor, measured pace suggesting someone walking with purpose rather than wandering. The steps moved toward basement door location, directly above their position. Ryan pointed frantically at ground-level window on basement's far wall, tiny opening maybe 2 feet square that might offer escape. The basement door handle rattled. Not testing, not casual touch, deliberate attempt to turn mechanism and open door. They'd left it open, meaning someone upstairs was now closing and potentially locking their only conventional exit. Lucas killed his flashlight immediately, Ryan following suit, so basement plunged into darkness broken only by fading twilight through tiny window. The footsteps began descending stays, unhurried pace suggesting confidence rather than caution. Whoever approached knew the terrain, expected to find intruders, and felt no need for stealth. Ryan armor crawled toward window, Lucas following, both trying to control breathing that sounded deafening in enclosed space. The stays creaked under weight, rhythmic descent marking progress. 10 steps down, now 12, now 15. The basement had maybe 20 steps total, giving them 30 seconds maximum before confrontation. The window frame was old wood, potentially rotted enough to break quietly. Ryan tested it gently, glass already broken outward. Previous vandalism providing escape route if they could fit through opening. He pushed glass fragments outside, wincing at sound that seemed catastrophic but probably barely audible beyond basement. 18 steps. 19. The footsteps paused at bottom, and Lucas' wrist glanced back, tall silhouette visible against stairwell light, head tilted at angle suggesting listening or perhaps smelling for occupant presence. The figure remained motionless, somehow worse than active pursuit because stillness suggested predator confidence that prey couldn't escape. Ryan squeezed through window, metal frame scraping shoulders but body clearing narrow opening. He landed on grass outside, immediately turning to help Lucas who struggled with broader shoulders. Behind them, footsteps resumed, crossing basement floor directly toward window with acceleration suggesting attack imminent. Lucas's shoulders wedged halfway through, panic giving strength that pushed through pain as metal frame tore shirt and scraped skin. Ryan grabbed arms and pulled, momentum carrying both backward onto grass as figure appeared at window, face pressing against frame to observe their escape. Tall man, features visible in fading light, ordinary face twisted into expression of curiosity rather than anger. Head maintained tilted position like bird examining unusual insect, regarding two fleeing teenagers with detached interest that felt worse than rage. No shouting, no threats, just observation as they scrambled toward woods. They ran, didn't pause to memorize features, didn't document for police report, just crashed through underbrush toward lake in their entry point. Behind them, no pursuit sounds emerged, figure apparently content to watch departure rather than chase, which somehow made it worse. Predators chase, humans chase, but what stands still while prey flees? Reaching car triggered relief collapse, both gasping against hood while fumbling for keys with shaking hands. The mansion remained visible through trees, and as engine roared to life, Ryan glanced back one final time. The tall figure stood in basement doorway, visible in exterior twilight, head still tilted, watching their vehicle departure with same clinical interest. Later, elderly local and Facebook group mentioned sightings. People see lights as sometimes, moving around inside. Sheriff says it's squatters, but I don't think so. Squatters don't arrange furniture in patterns. When Ryan mentioned the chase, the old man went quiet before responding. Maybe don't go back there. Whatever's doing that, it's got purpose you don't want to interrupt. The squatter theory never satisfied. Homeless people seek shelter and comfort, not ritual circles maintained in perfect cleanliness while rest of house decays. Something occupied that mansion with intentions beyond simple housing need, using space for purposes that 5 chairs in perfect circle couldn't fully explain but certainly suggested. And the figure's calm observation suggested it had been waiting, not for trespassers specifically, but for anyone curious enough to witness whatever happened in that basement circle during hours when normal people stayed away.